good evening, and welcome. You are you are watching the Zone Blitz. We are the weekly webcast produced by NFL Female, www.nflfemale.com. Be sure to jump on our website and check out all the latest and greatest articles by all of our wonderful reporters who cover all 32 NFL teams. I am Sharona. I am the official NFL reporter for NFL Female. You can find me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. We have a big show tonight. It's still preseason. 2 preseason games are now in the books for all teams, and so we can maybe form a little bit of an opinion about some things, but not a whole lot. But still, we're going to talk about it. We're going to bring you guys the latest and greatest in NFL news, and then at the end we'll talk about some of the hottest topics that is affecting the NFL right now. Of course, Cris Carter's comments are creating a lot of buzz in the league, and so we'll talk about that and a lot of other things. But first, we're going to introduce ourselves to you, and I introduced myself. I'm going to kick it over to Sonja, who will introduce herself and bring in our other reporter.
Hey guys, it's me, Sonja. I am the official fan reporter for NFL Female for the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Twitter at mom2 3RN. And as always, I am excited to be back and talking some NFL goodness and preseason talk, as always. 2 games, like you said, in the books. And it looks kind of interesting out there. Gotten some news from my team. A couple question marks out there, but that's okay. We'll get into those a little later. And just always, as always, glad to be back with you two, ready to talk some issues. Kat, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Happy to be back. I'm the NFL Female fan reporter for the New Orleans Saints. You can find me on Twitter at Lash-Williams. And it's week 2 of preseason. Week 2 is done, and there's yet again more and more coming out, and I love it. I'm so glad football's back. So glad.
It's a good thing. Football being back is a good thing, even if it is just preseason. It's okay.
It's still football. It's still football.
Exactly. Exactly.
And college football's right around the corner.
It is. And see, there's been some college football headlines too.
Oh.
You're a Trojan fan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
Oh, Steve Sarkisian, our delightful head coach. That's children don't mix alcohol and pills. Learn the lesson from Steve Sarkisian.
Hey, Kat, I just named one of my fantasy football teams Sark at the Moon.
I like it. I like it. It's oh Lord, Steve Sarkisian. Thank you for kicking this season off properly.
I mean, it was entertaining, if nothing else.
Yes. Very entertaining. Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Shaking my head.
Exactly. That's all you can do right now. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Bury it in shame a little bit.
But don't feel bad. It's not like the kids had the access to the alcohol. It was just in the coach's office. So don't feel bad at all, right?
That's true. It's better as a coach than like a freshman player coming out completely drunk.
Okay.
I mean, that's one small silver lining in this. Oh.
All righty then. Well, let's head back to the NFL, the friendly confines of the NFL. All right. So, Sharona, you want to kick us off with some AFC talk?
Yeah, I just want to say, Kat, Sark might want to listen to Cris Carter and get himself a fall guy.
Boom.
I guess he did, though, kind of the meds kind of thing. No, I'm sorry. Listen, as a Tennessee Volunteer fan, I mean, we've had our... Speaking of USC, we get sorry to give you Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, at least we left him at the airport.
Yeah, that's right.
That was awful.
Oh, my God.
Once again, thank you, USC football.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the
goodness.
AFC. I guess the big news from the AFC today was the signing of Reggie Wayne by the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Wayne, of course, played his entire career for the Indianapolis Colts, and was a free agent. And I think he's like 37 years old. So, and he had an ACL like a couple of years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
he's a guy that um, is definitely not in the prime of his career anymore, but a solid veteran that hopefully maybe can help the Patriots. So that was kind of the big news, I suppose, from today. Some other stuff going on, but I thought that was one of the more interesting things. And
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick came out and said he's going to have to earn his spot, and it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Of course, the sort of the more interesting part of that, I don't know if you saw what the Indianapolis Star did, but they said that retweeted Robert Mathis. If we were, I wish we had a way. Oh, I might be able to figure out a way to get it up in here. I'll try to find that and post it in here so everybody can see it. But it's a big front page thing, and it says Patriot or Traitor, and it's got the back of Reggie Wayne with his, 87 Indianapolis Colts Wayne jersey on. I thought that was kind of a little bit of a low blow, but yikes.
Just a little bit. I mean,
Hmm.
again, it's a business, and you're gonna go where they're gonna offer you money, right? And
Oh
if
yeah. Well, the
he's
Colts didn't even want him. They didn't make any effort to
to
retain
bring
him,
him
so
back.
it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not like. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting way. There are a lot of injuries. Speaking of Reggie Wayne and injuries, Marquise Pouncey, the Steelers
Oh yeah.
offensive lineman, he's out for the year. Jordy Nelson, big news in the NFC. We'll let Kat talk about that. But let's see what else. Here's the other big one. Mike Vick signed
Yes. With the
by the Pittsburgh
Steelers.
Steelers.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was, can you guys hear that? I'm on ESPN, and of course, their embedded video is going on.
Of course. No,
Oh
I
my
think that was an interesting move, which another reason why I think that the best job in the world is the backup quarterback for an
Yeah,
NFL for an NFL team, because honestly, I don't really see him getting a lot. I mean, obviously barring injury, but
right.
interesting move. Just a very interesting move.
It's very interesting, and Ben Roethlisberger has been, for the most part, pretty resilient and healthy.
Hmm.
He's a big guy,
Yeah.
and he takes a lot of hits, but he has stayed relatively healthy from on the field injuries, and so yeah, I mean, and they made it clear. Certainly, there's no question, but that Big Ben's the guy, and he's not. Michael Vick is not coming in there to compete for a
Oh
job
God, no.
or anything like that. But
I
it's
don't
been
even
kind of
see that.
interesting watching how Steelers fans have reacted to that. Vic was a Jet for a while, and was that AFC
Yeah.
sort of rivalry going on, and
Mhm.
that kind of thing. I guess the other big buzz going on is how poorly the Cincinnati Bengals played last night on primetime Monday night television, preseason, of course, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. That was another thing too, and Andy Dalton. That was a
Oh
tweet
my
that was going
God!
around a lot last night. I saw that
Yeah.
from several different people. Dalton gonna Dalton, and hey, I mean he is, but then Dalton's gonna Dalton, and then win
Hmm.
you a whole bunch of games too. So there's that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think too. I mean, Andy Dalton definitely was struggling, but the Bengals defense was very disappointing, and I had drafted them in one of my fantasy leagues, so I was like, oh crap, what have I done? I'm kind of, you know, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You did expect a
let's
little bit more from their
yeah.
defense coming out.
And of course, the
But
reason why the Steelers signed Michael Vick is because Bruce Grodkowski had a finger shoulder injury that was limiting him, and he's a guy that um, has been in the league for a while, so they needed to get a veteran presence behind him. And I guess the other big news, we should talk about this, and that is Evan Mathis, free agent guard who had been on the market a lot longer than I expected, but now he has signed a 1-year contract with the Denver Broncos. And of course, the Broncos were needing some offensive line help. There was some indication that he might go to the Patriots, he might go to some other team, but he signed with the Broncos. I think that's a good spot for him.
I think so. Their line needs shoring up. They need some. So, yeah, get him in there and see what he can do. Hopefully help protect Peyton and help their run game as well. Speaking of the Patriots and offensive line, they just made a trade. They just made a trade with the Lions for a 7th-round pick. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if things have changed in the past couple hours, but 7th-round pick for one of our offensive tackles. So there you go. There you go. Line shoring up. We do that a lot. But apparently,
that's a good deal for both sides. Though.
Yeah.
The Lions are pretty well set along their offensive line, and so I thought that was a good trade for both sides.
Yeah. And apparently, they had been targeting him for a while anyway. So there's that.
That works out well.
Yeah. All's well that ends well.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's another good AFC thing. And then also, I hate to keep beating a dead horse here, but can we talk about the Bills going with the 3-quarterback rotation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that works, I mean, I know how it works, but, okay, come on. Where are we going with this? I guess is my question.
It's kind of, you've got an interesting quarterback situation when you've got 3 guys competing for it and you're not actually sure who you're going to start in week 1. Now, some of that is possibly gamemanship, because we know Rex Ryan likes to game, and, for him, he probably has a pretty good idea who he's going to start. And from all, I watched the Bills play in their last preseason game, and it does look like Tyrod Taylor has that job, and it's going to be his. They're ideally E.J. Manuel would step up and win that job. That's what they want. I think they're giving him, and E.J. Manuel did come on a little bit. There were some really shaky moments in that last game, but he's the guy. He's the guy that they drafted to be the guy, and so they're giving him reps or hoping that he'll win the job. And I mean, they're giving him every opportunity to win the job, but I think that ultimately it's probably going to be Tyrod Taylor day one. And it's a tough spot for everybody, but I think in retrospect it would have been better, and Sonja and I talked about this last year, if the Bills had just stuck with EJ. And I don't know, what did they really get from the Kyle Orton experience? Not much. They didn't make the playoffs, and they are still unsure about EJ Manuel. It would have been better just to let him play through it and figure out what, all that much sooner what they had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, Kat, are you a fan of letting them learn and get bloodied out there and, learn the hard way, or sitting down and watching? Because that's always been kind of my little pet peeve, is that we don't give them enough time.
I think it's absolutely necessary to give, I just said necessary, really weird, I'm so sorry about that. I think it's necessary to give them the time to get it out there. I think, football isn't math. You're not going to learn just by watching it. You're going to learn by being out there and getting the feeling and getting used to it. And the pros are different than college, and I think let your quarterback struggle through it, and I think you'll end up with a better quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Yeah. Especially when you've got, from EJ Manuel's perspective, the first year he had injuries. He had that
Yeah.
the knee injury, and he tried to play through it. I mean, it's such a catch-22, especially for any guy. But veterans maybe sort of have a little bit more credibility built up to where they can have an injury, especially if they've been consistently good. But for a young guy struggling to prove himself, struggling to make the team or whatever, they're going to push through and try to play through those injuries. We see that with RG3, and for these young quarterbacks, it was saw with Jake Locker. It's just I think that it's taking a toll on it's derailing their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
Yeah.
And I see that completely with RG3. You see that with EJ.
Yeah.
And injuries suck. And being in an environment where you're appreciated too, I think, not appreciated, but being in a conducive environment. You might not be appreciated, but at least conducive. Like RG3 does not have in Washington. He does not have a conducive environment. But I think that helps as well,
Yeah.
And so if you're in a system that is kind of helping you learn and getting you to where you need to be, I think that makes all the difference in the world. And unfortunately, I don't think, at least with Doug Marrone, I don't think that EJ had that, had that kind of conducive environment. Maybe he'll get that with Rex. I don't know. And, Chan Gailey, their offensive, not Chan Gailey, because he moved. Anyway.
Well, but that's a good, Sonja, you've raised such a good point by that. I mean, poor EJ's like Alex Smith. He's had how many head coaches, how many offensive coordinators?
Right.
That doesn't help either.
No.
Exactly. And so you need some stability. You need somebody to say, all right, okay, this is how we do it. This is how it's done. And I'm going to help you. And, and you also, in some cases, have to be willing to say, all right, I need the help, and, I need to take these extra steps to make myself better, and not just, grandstand and make big statements,
Yeah.
Well,
and I think, too, when we talked about this, I think last week, I bet Kat remembers this, for so many guys, it's how the team handles their situation. You've got to put these guys in a situation to be successful. So if you've got a team that's willing to say, hey, look, this is what you do well, we're going to capitalize on that. It's all about making the scheme work for what you have, instead of trying. With EJ Manuel, we've seen them try to make him what he's not, instead of utilizing what he's really good at. And that's just so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very much so important. So we shall see the trials and tribulations of a one EJ Manuel continue.
Cool.
But I hope it goes well. Now, you know what? One article that I did not read that I really wanted to, and I think, Sharona, you saw it, was about the owner of the Bills, Miss Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you tell me about that? Because I kind of wanted to read that.
Kim Pegula?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Kim Pegula was an orphan. Well, she was abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's coming to join us. She was, I think it's from Seoul. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's where she was found, and she was adopted by an American couple who had, I think they had 2 sons, and they were middle class, successful, and they wanted to expand their family and help out, be a parent to a kid that needed it, and so they adopted her, and she was as a lot of kids in that situation do, she was an overachiever, and did all of this stuff, and then she met I forget Mr. Pegula's first name, but she met him, and at the time there was she's younger than him, of course, and so there's I think an 18-year age, an 18-year age difference, but the way the article told it, they took their relationship slowly and got married, and they've got children of their own. They've been married for like 20 years, for a long time. They've been married for a pretty good while, and she has, once their children got a little bit grown, she started, and they bought these sports teams. She started participating and has been to the owners meetings and stuff, and is really kind of quietly becoming a little bit of a force in the sporting world.
Well, that's cool.
That's very
cool. Good. That's very good. I like the fact that she's at least going to owners meetings and kind of just getting at least a feel. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's on the board of one of the first things the NFL did was put her on. I wish I could remember which one, but it was a board that she seemed very well suited for, and it dealt with a lot of current issues and things of that nature. So I'm very curious to see what impact her and some of these other I can't remember the Colts owner's name. I can't believe I'm totally blanking on Irsay. Yes, his daughter is
she's kind of second in line up there too.
Is very involved as well. It's nice to see more women getting involved.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's the AFC for you. All eventful today. And then, so now we can swing over to the NFC and see what's been shaken over there. Big news is our friend, Mr. Jordy Nelson, or as Sharona and I affectionately call him, Nordy.
Nordy Jelson.
Nordy Jelson. Had a season-ending knee injury, and hope that all goes well with that and getting back. But did you guys hear? And I don't know if it was just big news here in Detroit or if it made it out a little bit further. But what my friend Glover Quinn said about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. I did. It was very. I thought the controversy over that was weird, as some of them. I understand what he was saying. Maybe he didn't say it in the most artful fashion. And Kat, just basically what he said was, it wasn't all in the context of meaningless preseason games, basically. And he said it was, God's will that it happened that way. And that's how. That's how people talk sometimes, and it's just. I thought all the outrage was a little misplaced.
Yeah, maybe not the smartest thing to say, but I don't think it's not like you said, well, he deserved it.
Yeah, let me pull up the exact quote. So
I was about to say the quote itself kind of just said, this was kind of God's will that it happened, and if it didn't happen in this preseason game, if he had sat out this preseason game, then it would have happened in the next game, or the season opener or something like that. And the fact that it happened so early, they now have a chance to plan and get the next man up and get him going, and at least it's the preseason now and they have time to do this instead of scrambling at the beginning of the season. And so at first I saw it and I was like, he said what? And then I read the actual quote and I was like, I get it. I see exactly what he's saying. I do. And I don't think it was as big a deal as a lot of people thought, but I understand what he's saying completely. I don't think there was any malice behind it at all.
Oh, there was absolutely no malice in there. None at all.
I think it's a misunderstanding of religion, in that it's not that he's saying God punished Jordy. I just quickly read it. It's not like he's saying God punished Jordy Nelson. He's saying if you believe that God's plan is God's plan, things are going to happen regardless of what happens. Well, at least it happened now, so they can quickly gather themselves back up. But That's not. It just is not the smartest thing to say in today's media.
Right.
Yeah.
In today's 24-hour news cycle, it's going to get regurgitated and completely misconstrued.
Well, we live in a day and age where people love to be offended.
Yes.
You know,
Outrage.
because that's what the outrage industry is, what it is. Because somebody says something, it gets misconstrued, then it gets posted in a blog post and in a headline designed to capitalize on the misconstruement, and that gets clicks, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
It
But
is.
it is. It's not cool.
Yeah.
But like you said, you just got to read. So yes, you kind of do have to fall for the clickbait, but you got to keep reading.
Yes.
And then develop your own conclusion. And my
Mhm.
personal conclusion from that was that he meant no harm by it, no malice. I mean, for crying out loud, the same thing happened to Stephen Tulloch last year. He sacks Aaron Rodgers, he celebrates, and then boom, there goes the ACL again. If that's your belief that God, has a plan and that was his plan, then there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could just be a Packer hater and or a Lion hater and be like, oh, that's what he gets, that type of thing. So
I did not. I know people took it that way. I did not take it that way.
exactly.
It's him hating on Packers, and I know that rivalry and all of that, but
Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't that big a deal. Looking back on it, it really was not that big a deal.
No.
So that was probably the biggest news. And then, of course, comes the annual, how many preseason games should we have, and are there too much, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. That always, I like that talk greatly.
well, I think it does raise. They're still talking about that 18-game season, and I would like to see them get away from all of that. But
Yeah.
and it's not just Jordy Nelson. It's there have been a lot more
Yeah.
than just him. We talked about the Steelers, and I think Pouncey's their center.
Yep, their Pro
Sorry,
Bowl
guys.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a ton of other guys. And I don't know that we've seen. Those are those the only two
That was
season-ending injuries that we've seen so far in preseason?
Kelvin Benjamin.
Well, that's right, Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
By
then,
the way, I have Jordy Nelson on one fantasy team, Kelvin Benjamin on another.
Oh.
oops.
Oops. That's.
I know. So if I drafted you as a wide receiver, I'm so sorry.
Sharona's got the wide receiver curse.
Right. That's
Aw.
right.
Don't draft any more wide receivers.
Don't draft. Oh no.
Just don't draft it.
I've still got. I'm doing an auction draft right now, and we've got our Zone Blitz, so we're going to talk about it toward the end of the show, and then Lisa's NFL Female League, and I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, very, very good.
And
then
I'm also drafting in the Charity League.
So, and yes, the Charity League. Gotta love
the
it.
Charity League.
And then also another big thing that was earlier last week was our friend who we mentioned a little earlier, Mr. RG3. And, he pretty much just got devoured out there on Thursday. And while I was very proud of the Lions' defensive line and their defense, he got left out there a little too long. And, I think he really needed to get pulled a little bit before he did. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I know. It's so hard. I mean, I don't know. I know that he was taking a pounding, and it was preseason and all of that, but, he was looking rusty, and it was pretty clear that he needed some, time to work on don't they have there's a new playbook? Doesn't he have a new offensive coordinator too? Something about they had installed some new stuff. I don't know.
Mhm,
I read
mhm.
that. I read that somewhere, but don't hold me to that. So it's so hard. I know it's preseason, but are you going to? I guess maybe do you pull him in a regular season game? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation. If you know,
It's a cluster for bubble down there. It just
yeah,
is. And I think I was thinking more so, okay, it's just a preseason game. They're really firing on all cylinders. Let's get you out of there. For maybe, I don't know, just get them out. There was no
hmm
real true reason to have them. I mean, they did end up winning, but no fault of RG3's. He had
yeah.
he had nothing to do with the win, essentially,
Yeah.
because he's getting popped out there. What do you think, Kat?
I think, you know what, he did look rusty. He does need time, obviously. Like, you want your quarterback to have a little bit of time, but how many times has he sacked? Like 3 or 4 before they took him out? Like,
At
I think there
least.
comes a point where it's preseason and he's your quarterback. Like, it's not worth it. And he's injury prone. And do you really want to have all this? I'm not a big RG3 fan, obviously. We've gone over this one, but
Yeah.
I just think it's not worth the risk at this point. When you still have two, I know most of the time they're not going to play in game 4, but if he really needs like even just a couple of plays out there, you still have 2 more games to get him a little de-rustified, unrusty. I don't know. You have time to warm him up a little bit.
We're fine making up words here. We do
Yeah,
all the
I was
time.
about to say neologisms. We're good with those.
What
So,
do you guys make, though? A lot of people were speculating that the offensive line, well, not speculating, a lot of people were talking about the fact that the offensive line looked a lot better once they finally did pull RG3 and put other quarterbacks out there. What do you guys think about that?
okay, I'll take this one. At least I'll start. Um, I would say that if that's the case, and if they did play better, which they did, they started to kind of come around after he was out of the game. Um, that again kind of goes back to the respect thing, and you know, the locker room talk, and obviously I mean, we know that he doesn't have that locker room at all. They give him no
No,
respect.
it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it all falls, is that they give him no respect, and we see that.
Yeah.
And that's what we see.
Yeah.
You can tell when a quarterback isn't the heart of his team the way he should be, and I think that was pretty obvious.
Why do you guys think that is? I know we've talked about RG3 a lot. I mean, he's a young guy. I mean, how can you be that young and that talented and have your team and your coach, I mean, two different coaches turn on you like that? I just feel like maybe he doesn't have the best people around him.
Again, I could see that. I could see him
Yeah.
not have, I mean, obviously he doesn't, and the best person around him, I think, is Snyder. And
Yeah.
they don't really like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't like it that he's the owner's pet in a way. And I
Yeah.
think that that's where that's all coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Ish.
Yeah.
It's a tragic situation. It really is. I mean, because look at what the Redskins gave up to get him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's true.
they're heavily invested. Poor guy stuck there at least for this year, unless somehow there's a trade. I don't see anyone trading for RG3. My dog just blinked her head on the computer. Sorry, guys. What's the
That's
funniest?
okay.
Hi, Mom.
I mean, but if you think about it, the poor guy's been in, with like a QB controversy and just, butting heads since the draft. Because not too long after they take him, then they take the Sparty, Kirk Cousins. So, there's that. So
Yeah.
it was just a bad situation all the way around. All the way around.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But that's just me. And then the other big news coming out of the NFC today was, and I don't know if you guys heard about this, was Mr. Michael Bennett from the Seattle Seahawks got to talking a little bit. Did you guys hear that?
Yep. Basically, he said that mediocre quarterbacks are getting paid a lot of money, and things were out of whack. And he was talking about Sam Bradford and some more, but
Ryan Tannehill.
I wonder if he was talking about maybe his
own.
I mean, isn't he another guy wanting a new deal?
Michael Bennett? Uh-huh.
I mean, it's kind of interesting to see, the Seahawks have kind of rode this unity thing,
Right.
It's almost sort of kind of this us against them mentality to the Super Bowl. But I think we're starting to see some fracturing going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you wonder how their season's going to go.
I kind of do. Just because, I just wonder if they are going to be able to pull it together and just kind of, overlook their chips and then just kind of put it all together and be like, how they have been in the past couple of years, that this is the team and this is what we're doing and things like that. I mean, but when you see one of the major cogs in Cam Chancellor holding out, you really, I mean,
that holdout's so weird to me.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, he just got a new deal. He just got a new deal.
That is just the weirdest thing to me. And so I think that right there just kind of starts the ball rolling. Yeah. And then to add the little bit that Michael Bennett's just said and put that in there, I don't know. Until they lose and until, things happen, they still are, I think, the favorite. And I think if they can overlook this, then yeah, if this doesn't break them and they, bring it together and come together, by all means, they are the favorite to come out of the NFC, I think.
Absolutely.
Even with this injury to I think with the injury to I think Jordy Nelson's injury does kind of put the Packers a little bit, a couple more steps behind, but I still think that they are
he's clearly a loss. There's no question.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. They've still got a lot of talent on that team, and they've got some young receivers, a lot of promising young receiver talent, and some promising young tight ends too. Somebody's going to have to step up.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have Aaron Rodgers, so he can pretty much make anybody.
Yeah. And Eddie Lacy.
Yeah,
and Eddie Lacy.
That's a.
And Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews fan there.
I mean, Ray Maluga and blanking Brian Cushing lived in my dorm freshman year, so they were friends. So he would come around. He was always a nice guy. They were always, I like to see those three do well, just because you hung out with them as a freshman.
I was about to say, you got some history with them.
Yeah, I have some funny Ray Maluga stories for sure. He was my neighbor. He was my next door neighbor, but nothing I'm going to repeat on the.
And I'm sure he's grateful for that.
Yes, Ray, you're a wonderful person. I'm proud of the man you've become. You made me laugh more than any human. Will not say why.
And there you go. But back to the Seahawks, I think that if they can overcome this, I think they'll be just fine. But it does kind of make you wonder. And I know the 12s are all like, oh, well, that's just the hate, and, that brings us better and makes us better. And that's true, but these are also some true issues. And if he's going out and just speaking it on the radio to everybody who's listening, free speech, yes, but there's got to be something behind it. And like you said, I was waiting to see if he was I mean, I don't know. You think that he kind of was maybe thinking about his own quarterback as well, but doesn't
I
want to say
wonder.
anything. I
Yeah.
really do. As I was reading that, I was like, "Giga." Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there were those reports about the Seahawks locker room the past couple of seasons, particularly when Percy Harvin
Hmm.
was there, and the infamous fight, and the Russell Wilson divorce, and and all of that, and um, I go back to the talk that there were guys in the locker room who um, maybe thought he didn't act black enough. Do you remember that, Sonja?
Hmm. Hmm. I
Yeah.
do.
And I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how just some of that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't think it's all as pretty as we'd like it, or as they
We
would
like
like to
us to
think
think
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay. I get that everybody has issues, and that's okay. Don't be, who cares? If they're winning if they win on the field, who cares? Have the issues all you want. If it works, it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. There you go. And then I like how at the end he compared himself to a wife who's just in the marriage for the kids. That's his relationship with football. That he's just in it for the kids. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you could walk away at any time now. You're pretty well taken care of, I'd like to think.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. So let's talk about your friend and mine, Hall of Famer Cris Carter, and what he said at the Rookie Symposium last year. And that was the other thing, too, that kind of got me, was that I was like, oh, he said that this year? And then, they're calling up Teddy Bridgewater. I'm like, but wait. So I was like, oh, that was last year. And it's just now coming out. But that's another story
Mhm.
for another day.
Yeah.
Get a fall guy, huh?
Mhm.
At first when he started the conversation, I kind of saw where, maybe not the fall guy, but I saw kind of what he was saying. But then once he hit the fall guy, I was like, yeah, and you lost me. It's like, if you're going to have people on your crew, on your payroll, as it were, yes, there are roles that need to be filled. But you don't need to have your flunky like that. You just don't. Do you have the guy that, holds the cell phones, who's responsible for getting you rides, organizing you guys to make sure you meet up at this place, that place, getting the car together, stuff like that? Yes, you have that person. But you don't have a fall guy like that. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
go.
yes, it was. The whole situation was very interesting, from the wearing his gold jacket to say this, his Hall of Fame
Yeah, yeah.
gold
Yes.
jacket that he
Yes.
had on, and he's doing this in front of 195 rookies. How many are invited? There's a bunch,
Yeah.
over 100. I'm
Oh,
certain.
for sure.
Yeah.
Young men, some of whom maybe have come from backgrounds that they struggled to overcome, and I you have to wonder what kind of mindset makes someone think that that's a good idea. And then of course the NFL, we know from Robert Klemko, who writes for Sports Illustrated and for Peter King's Monday Morning Quarterback, that he was at the event, and right after Cris Carter said it, the NFL PR person, or the NFL person in charge, flipped her head over and said, "That's off the record." And so he was told not to report it, and he said he struggled with that and ultimately didn't include it. And then what does the NFL do? It's just posted on their website,
Mm-hmm.
just posted right out there for everybody to see. And You know, I mean, this is why, this is in large part the reason why Roger Goodell, who's not responsible for every single gaffe, right? Because he's not there doing everything.
Right.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
not the guy who looked at that video and said, let's post that, but because he's the guy in charge, he gets the blame, right?
Right.
But this is why he is, the NFL and him are seen in such a negative, poisonous light. Is that it's for an organization that makes an ungodly amount of money.
Literally.
It's like a clown show sometimes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know?
And I mean the fact that, and this was in 2014, so before everything went down with Warren Sapp, but having him on the stage too, it was just kind of like, really? Wow.
I know Warren Sapp was going, I mean,
Oh.
yeah.
But the look
Well,
on his
when I
face,
said
though.
this earlier today,
Mhm.
I am entirely certain this is not the first time Cris Carter has given that advice.
Oh,
I'm not,
no.
No.
Not at all.
and I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised to know that he's done it in other forums kind of like this, because he's invited to speak a lot to young kids.
Mhm.
A lot to young kids. What has he been telling these young kids? I don't know that do we know? I don't know. Ignorance may be bliss here.
Yeah.
I think ignorance may be bliss here too, but what do you expect from Ohio State grad? I didn't need to go there. But oh goodness. Trash Talk Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Trash Talk Tuesday. And I'm just drinking water.
But I mean, yeah, like you said, that seemed to flow. That just, he said that before, and
He has said that
knowing his background and what he's had to, what he's gone through, and God bless him for getting sober and getting clean and stuff like that, and going through all that.
Yeah.
But knowing that he's done some things like that before, he's had people take the fall for him.
Yeah, and it's good to give these young guys, I mean, you don't want to just sit there and be like, and this is how you invest your money. This is what you say to them. Like, yes, give them some practical, a lot of these guys are coming from tough situations into a completely new world. Advising them to have a fall guy is not quite the same as, hey, be careful with who you take home at night because she may want money later.
Exactly.
Be careful what you do at parties if there are too many cameras around. It's a little different being like, have a guy in your crew who'll go to prison for you.
A guy in the crew, though, who will go to prison for you, you're stupid, you need to move on. And I'm sorry, but that's true.
And who is this guy that is like, yep, I'll do it? Who is this guy?
No, don't do it.
No,
Don't do that.
Fall guys of the world, walk away.
But there are some people out there who will, though. I'm pretty sure that there are people who would be willing to take the fall.
Well, I think a lot of people think that that's what happened with Ray Lewis, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Exactly. So, I don't know. And like you said, the fact that it got up on the NFL's website somehow, some way, guffaw, person needs to go.
Now they need a fall guy for the NFL.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to me, and I understand, that I understand this, but there are so many people who think that Cris, look, the NFL is not blameless here, but there's so many people that think that Cris Carter said that on behalf of the NFL, and I'm like, where is... Look, I understand everybody's mad at Roger Goodell in the NFL right now. I mean, there's always something going on, but Cris Carter did this. Now the NFL handled it poorly. And ESPN issued their own little statement because Cris Carter works for ESPN. But, I don't know that. And Cris Carter apologized, but really what repercussions will he see?
Probably none,
No. Zilch, nada.
Yeah.
I don't see too much.
No, we might
But
not even know about this, and Chris Borland didn't want to name who it was, but if that Chris Borland article hadn't come out, 'cause that's how we found. By the way, if you're watching out there and you haven't read the Chris Borland article, that was on ESPN's website. I think it was produced. It was produced by the Outside the Lines team, or came through the Outside the Lines team. It's absolutely fantastic. And what Chris Borland said is that he was at the rookie symposium, and a former player had said this to them, and he was sitting there thinking, "Is this what I want to be part of?"
right.
You know, he said it was disgusting to him.
Yeah.
And it is. And is it something that you want to be a part of where people are actively like, yeah, no, don't get you a fall guy, get you a flunky. You got to have the flunky. No. And unfortunately, some of these guys, a lot of these guys think that that's the gospel truth, and that you do have to have somebody like that, and they don't have the ability to kind of separate it from, what he's saying, and is it a joke, is it for real? They don't have that ability. And, so there's that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's a hero probably to a lot of these guys. He's someone they really respect, and he's saying to do it. Okay, well, he's been around. He knows how to do it. He's got on a
gold jacket.
Yeah, exactly. He has the gold jacket. Like, I would probably listen to a lot of what he had to say if he was giving me career advice and I was a rookie. Like, of course, that's why he was there to talk.
Yeah, it's just a bad look for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Well, we're winding down, but you want to talk some fantasy real quick?
Sure.
Update everybody on our fantasy league.
Yeah, absolutely. Sonja is in charge of the Zone Blitz Fantasy League, and if you have not signed up for it, we have only a few spots left, so get on that. You can get at Sonja or our Denver Broncos OFR fan reporter. Her name is Leora. You can get at her too, or Liz at NFL Female. Just let any one of us know, really, and we will get you in. It's a PPR league, and I'll let Sonja tell you guys about it.
Yeah, it's a PPR league. We've got 12 teams, and I think maybe 4 or 5 slots that are left. So if you want to join in, like Sharona said, just hit us up. Our draft goes live next Monday, the 31st at 9 p.m. So be there, be square. And it's on NFL.com. So, and the league is called Double Coverage because once we bring on our new member, we will have Sharona and Sonja, 2 S's, and we'll have Kate and Kat, 2 K's. So double coverage. You see what
double
we did
trouble. There? We're gonna have a lot of fun with that.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yes. So that's our league. Hit us up. Make sure you get in there. Gonna be a lot of fun, and of course a lot of trash talk. So come on, bring it. We're ready.
Yep. Next week, by the way, we're going to be joined by the newest member of the Zone Blitz team, Kate, our our Cleveland Browns fan reporter, OFR, is going to be joining us for the first time as part of the team. So we're very excited to have her. We'll let you guys meet her, and then hopefully pretty soon. I know we've been promising you guys that we're going to be coming to you from Spreecast. We still hope to make that happen. Spreecast is a much different platform than what we're used to, and we want to do it justice when we roll it out to you guys. So if we do decide to do that, if and when we decide to do that, we will definitely let you know.
Because that'll be fun because it'll be very interactive. You guys will be able to ask us questions, and we'll be able to respond, and we'll be able to ask you guys questions. And of course, we're always up for some good smack talk and trash talk. So there you go. Clean but classy.
Clean but classy.
I like it.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for another great episode of the Zone Blitz. we're still in preseason, so we're kind of feeling our way through. We don't. Yeah, you don't really know week to week what's going to happen because it is preseason, and things are. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with our NFL team. So we'll have to keep you guys posted on social media as to what our topics are going to be. But we're going to be introducing some new segments for you guys. It's going to be fun and exciting for that. Sonja mentioned Trash Talk Tuesdays. We're going to work that into somehow into our show and let you guys vote on some things. So we're really excited about what we're going to be doing in the upcoming shows. And of course, the season's going to be starting soon, so that'll be exciting as well. So big things ahead for the Zone Blitz.
Yes, stay tuned. Stay with us because we're growing, and it's just going to be even better, I think. I like the idea of Spreecast and being interactive with everybody, so that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Join us.
Yes.
All right. Well, Sonja, let's take us out.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. And this hour always goes by so quickly. So, again, I'm Sonja. I'm the NFL female fan reporter for the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Twitter at mom3RN. Always excited to interact with everybody and meet new people. So hit me up. And if you want to join our fantasy league, please just let me know. Kat, we'll send it over to you.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Lash-Williams. I will be actively live tweeting every Saints game, hopefully coherently.
Very, very good. We like
that is the great thing about game day is that, coherent, not coherent, we're all in this funny thing called sports and the NFL together.
Exactly.
I like it. Yep.
Exactly. And Sharona, go for it.
I'm Sharona. I'm the official NFL reporter for NFL Female. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. You can follow NFL Female on Twitter at NFL Female. We'll be back next week with another great show, joined by Kate. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great evening. You've been watching the Zone Blitz. Shout out to Liz, of course, for whom none of this is possible. You've been watching the Zone Blitz. Have a pleasant evening. Join us next week.